talking of rebasing in this particular room is dealing with the converted. We need to talk to our public out there, and this is where the media comes in, given the implications as already discussed earlier. Some analysts, qualified or not, will always see a question mark, even where others see an exclamation mark. They'll be loud at opining what they see, believe, feel, or even imagine, although it sometimes means misleading the public. It is important, therefore, for the general public to understand in simple facts that rebasing the national account series, we're simply replacing the old base year used for compiling the constant price estimates to a new and more recent base year. This definitely gives different results from what they were, but more importantly, closer to the times as the base is closer to the current times. In principle, this implies changes in prices and weights, as well as reconciliation of the different estimates of gross domestic product, GDP, while providing the opportunity to review and improve the methodology and concepts. Ben, only a statistician would think that's a simplification. To further simplify, through rebasing, we shall get a more accurate estimate of the size and structure of our economy by incorporating the new economic activities and recognizing the rise and or fall of specific activities and their importance in the overall package called our GDP. This creates for government a more focused mechanisms to tackle the challenges of growing the economy in a more sustainable and inclusive fashion. Recently, I read with interest an online article from The Observer hinting to the need for Uganda to rebase its GDP fast. It was gratifying to note that out there on the international scene, the need and interest to rebase was as important as it is with our government. Technically, rebasing is a process that requires time, commitment, financial resources, and call for diligence at all steps. I am pleased that we were able to establish and share these results in good time, and coincidentally, just as we complete the National Population and Housing Census 2014. I swear that is not why we delayed the census by 2 years. I will also use this moment to thank all those who participated in this rebasing activity. To date, we have been on track in terms of economic growth and development, implying that even with an aging GDP base, we have been able to plan, intervene, and propel the economy forward very prudently. There has been a lot of developments on the economic landscape over the last 10 years that were expected and will continue to impact on the economic structure as a totality. And one of the tasks that you, boss, and the National Planning Authority must undertake is, even when we do not appear to be accelerating forward, it is a source of pride that we have not stagnated. The value of avoided costs is just as high as the value of added benefits. On behalf of government, I thus wish to affirm that now we've got what it takes to have a better and common understanding of the structure of our economy, hence the sectoral growth drivers and sectors where investment should be channeled in order to grow the economy, create jobs, improve infrastructure, and reduce poverty. And I'd like to take a minute to discuss agriculture. Both Ben and Dr. Mkisa have called for more investment in agriculture. I was very happy to see you now have agricultural support services as a factor in itself. This has been greatly overlooked, while at the same time, this is the area where the government has been focusing its efforts for agriculture, fully recognizing that agriculture is a private sector domain. The government has no farms, it has no breeding ranches, it does not even have any fisheries. So it has to work through the private sector to see what does the private sector, in this case agriculture and agriculturalists, what do they need? And the call was for more and better feeder roads, more and more reliable rural electrification, extension services, large-scale irrigation, and disease control. And you'll note if when you deconstruct the budgets of the last 5 years, these areas have been taking up more and more of the government budget, but now you have it as a sector in itself. I commend to you to make sure all those sectors are included, subsectors are included in what in government we have now called the rural development sector. Agriculture, feeder roads from the Ministry of Works, rural electrification from the Ministry of Energy, extension services from the Ministry of Agriculture, disease control from the Ministry of Agriculture, community mobilization from the Ministry of Local Government, and seed certification from the Ministry of Trade and Industry. You can see it's quite a mouthful. We therefore expect that as a consequence, we should see better investment choices made as one way to help create sustainable jobs and fight poverty in the foreseeable future. It is very true that agriculture is where the future of Uganda still lies as far as employment and value added is concerned. But we prefer to call it not agriculture, but agri-business, encompassing the whole value chain of agriculture, from inputs, production, which is farming or ranching, harvesting. So this signals an opportunity for industrialists to go more into agro-processing, where the raw materials are local, where the power from hydro is local, and where the market is both local and regional. So that's an indicator for the industrialists. We therefore should see an increase in revenue collections as a broader tax base is revealed, and which revenues will help government to increase service delivery. In view of the positive growth in the magnitude of GDP, we should review the current debt to GDP ratio, hence seize opportunity to secure smart debt to finance core productive sectors that will spur the economy higher, i.e. unlock the constraints to higher growth, which have been mentioned here today: infrastructure and human capital development. We should continue to see and monitor an anticipated increase in performance and hence contribution of the new areas, specifically the oil and gas sector to GDP. We should also seize this opportunity to revive and improve the tax to GDP ratio, which is the one thing that has suffered as a result of today's activity. It will have fallen as a result of rebasing the GDP to a broader denominator. So your sister agency, URA, is going to take note of that and will move in like the ugly sister to also attend the party. Because on a broader scale, we should be able to fast track with confidence the different agenda that include Vision 40 and the National Development Plan 2. And again here, I pause to say that one reason why agriculture, even without the support services, why it does not show up as positively as one might have thought, is that it's largely informal still. It is not captured in your data. So that's why I look forward to challenging Uganda'S to improve and expand its data collection of the informal society, and thus propel more informal residents to become members of the formal sector. Because whether or not they reside in the informal sector, they have very formal likes and aspirations for power, for roads, piped water, and the rest of it. So we must encourage the informal sector to come into the formal sector. And I think your increased data collection ability will be very helpful in this way. Therefore, and in summary, we should all collectively look at these results with pride and optimism as a country and make a joint resolve to support and implement sector-specific policies, strategies, and initiatives that shall spur our economy to the desired levels. I will end my remarks by paying tribute to all those stakeholders. Since you said your parent ministry, I'll say to our children agencies. UBOS, National Planning Authority, the Bureau of Statistics, URA, who I hope will join the party, and alongside our development partners and the parent Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, who funded and advised on the collection of some critical data and subsequent compilation launch GDP estimates rebased to 2009